Today, for this session, we will be setting off 2 records. All witnesses will now provide their statements once our session begins. Their first entities are 1. A big project for Mike Jitloff. 2. The Wizard of Space and Time. This film to the left was released in 1989 fictionally, and the film to the right was released in 1988 through a real and credible source. For now, in this session, we will present Judge Samuel in this court today.
Thank you, Mike. I will now be presenting 2 witnesses in my court session. Before we start, to the left, we have a big project for Mike Jitloff from 1989, and to the right, we have The Wizard of Space and Time from 1988. In their point of view, the films are mixed, but they obtain different similarities. Now, to begin, we will start with the first witness, A Big Project for Mike Jitloff. A Big Project for Mike Jitloff. Can you tell me about your synopsis, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. My film was originally made to production on January 14, 1987, but they pushed their production date to August 23, 1989, just 1 day after its official release date, which was August 24th of that same year. The plot, its settings, references, and the casting remain different than the ones from the 1988 feature film, produced by Mike Jitloff. This was primarily due to post-production refinements until that very moment.
Well, that's because compared to my film, it takes place on that same location, but the year remains different in my 1988 feature film of The Wizard of Space and Time by Mike Jitloff. In the first segment, the boss quoted to the special effects team, that is, of course, Bookman, that if their TV show Hollywood's Greatest Effects doesn't have higher ratings than the Dr. Magic show, he is taken out of the film studio facility.
The same plot goes to that of my 1989 film, but it was made different this time. The boss then told Rick that if he does not see improvement by the time that exclusion or inclusion deal is not approved by the union or, depending on the pending approval limit, then he, too, is taken out of the film studio workshop.
However, though, there is no mentioning of the said deal in my 1988 feature film. Nor do they show that deal in the 1979 short film, for that said short film is my witness to the far right, at column 4. There is one mentioning though. When Jitloff asked Streaker that, if he can take the film cans with him, Streaker said he cannot do it, since the film cans are Jitloff's, but they can't be moved. They had to be taken to the union board, thus resulting on a workers' strike, if that happens.
Well, in my article mentioned, there is one mentioning of that deal which took place around June 21, 1984 to January 8, 1995. His boss told Rick that it was unacceptable to do so, and if that deal was to be put in place albeit its approval by the union board, the film studio plus the workshop's money will go to the taxpayers and might eventually lose revenue over it. Rick told the boss that it was the only option to do so to make sure this studio might exclude or include certain characters that are of off-course / off-brand legal entity, such as non-profit organizations and various major motion picture and film distribution companies.
I guess you got a point. A big project for Mike Jitloff. And I see you have the evidence with you in your possession. Can you please show the evidence to the jurors, please?
Here's the evidence, Your Honor. This is a legal document for the Exclusion Deal Act. Sometimes they might call this the Inclusion Deal Act. It was to allow certain characters to be included in big production movies, and in each movie they get featured. It follows this list. The following are in order. 1 is the Sesame Street characters, Elmo, Abby, Big Bird, the Count, Zoe, Cookie Monster, Bert, Ernie, Tilly, Rosita, and so on. 2 is the Between the Lions characters, Theo, Cleo, Lionel, Leona, and so on. 3 is various Dark Crystal characters, and 4 is some conceptual artworks made by the executive studio magnate himself. Artwork concepts like Bert, Ernie, Penny, Elliot, Justin, Cedric, and many others are perfect examples of the inclusion deal.
Your Honor, the evidence claims that this is false. There is no mentioning of the Exclusion Deal Act that was featured in my 1988 film. And besides, I have proof that the said film featured in 1989 was proven to be fake and fictional in my opinion. One last thing to note out, my 1988 featured film does not condone the usage of video AI, and your 1989 fictional film has several instances of video AI, with the proprietary website being Sora 2. A big project for Mike Jidlov. You should realize by now that making several instances of video AI, like 15-second video compilations, can put your video on security limitations and people might be able to notice your video being used by AI, not used on real, human-based film technology. And you should be rightly ashamed of your actions, witness. What have you got to say for yourself, ya wanted madman?
But it's true, defendant. Over 15 million people were hyped about this movie, but some were getting mixed feelings about this movie, so it doesn't matter once it gets certain reviews over this. Why, some critics on Rotten Tomatoes will rate this movie a certified fresh score, a 97%. The audience will love my featured 1989 film.
Your Honor, all of this claims to be false. He is lying beyond my belief.
Calm down, the Wizard of Space and Time. We'll see if our jurors make their final judgment to the witness once the results are in. Okay, it seems that a majority of 95% of the people want a big project for Mike Jitov to be guilty, and the Wizard of Space and Time not guilty, and 82% of the people do not want a big project for Mike Jitov to be guilty, and letting the Wizard of Space and Time be guilty. So depending on the results so far, that decision has been met, so a big project for Mike Jitov. Here is your verdict.
Guilty.
Wait! Why am I guilty? Please explain to me why I am guilty over something I didn't do.
Oh, I tell you what I mean by guilty, wanted criminal. You subsequently made several video usages of AI, and you should know the film studio companies do not, and will not, condone the usage of video AI on proprietary websites, like Sora 2, for example. And you just highly broke the film studio's conduct of law because of you. My 1988 film is literally shot for shot, real live footage production, and your fictional 1989 film is something over the lines. This is why certain viewers may like your movie but will not intend to like every detail of it, like for example, poor scripting, unforeseen images, AI-generated image containing conceptual artwork characters in 3D style, and I could go on at the very start. You should be very ashamed of what you did, young man.
This is no fair way can I be free for once my film used to become a one-hit wonder but now they have all seen the light of day. This is unacceptable way.
Well, you should have thought of that sooner. A big project for Mike Jitlov. You are hereby guilty of AI misusage and you are being sentenced to 50 years in jail without a chance in parole. Boys, take him away.
Yes, Judge Sam. Okay, into the prison cell you go.
No, one day I'll be back to settle the score on all of you. Just you wait, I say, just you wait.
Case closed. Court is adjourned. Thank you all for your time and patience.